All right, we're on number 4 of Stone Temple Pilots' catalog, and yes, the album is actually called Number 4. What's going on, ladies and gents in Cyberland? Coming back to you with another album review from the Stone Temple Pilots catalog, and this time we're on to the 4th album. Number 4. Like, okay. So with this album, I believe I was at, I think it was Borders, and I saw this album with a star, and I was just like, okay. And I didn't pay much attention to it. I think it had just come out, but I was like, whatever. I didn't know, put 2 and 2 together about who the band was. And my 9th grade year, I think it was, see this video with Sarah Michelle Gellar, beautiful, and the video looks like these. I forget what those things were called, but they kind of looked very similar to him. But anyway, you see this guy with some tattoos, and he's just doing like this wavy kind of thing and singing and stuff. But his voice was beautiful with the song, and the song was something different. And you see some other guys, but they're not really doing much. They're just kind of there, and and then you hear the lyrics and stuff. And I was just like, wow, this is like a really good song. And of course, I didn't know yet who the band was because I had heard songs, but I didn't correlate everything yet. But the point is, I like the song Sour Girl. I thought it was just great. Just overall the dynamic and how the song was crafted. I thought it was just a really good song. And then at some point, maybe a couple months later, I see a video from them again, but it looks almost like live, but it's not live. And the way it starts, I was just like, oh, it's No Way Out. And the way it just starts is like, I liked how the guitar, it was very subtle, but kind of dreamy like when it plays. And then all of a sudden it gets hard, really distortion. And then you just see this guy, Scott Weiland, just doing his thing on stage and singing, and it clicked. But it didn't click enough for me to go buy the album. But it was enough for me to kind of look into more about this band. That's one way to put it. And at some point, I listened to a couple songs, but I kind of tucked it away where there was other stuff that was in my attention at the time. And it wasn't until, I think, after college that I really started paying this band a little bit more attention. By that point, I believe Stone Temple Pilots had broken up. They already had 2 more albums, or 1 more album after this one. But the point is, I started paying some more attention to them, not because of the breakup, just because I just had the album in my catalog, in my playlist, and I hadn't listened to it really. I just had it, and I just started going through it. And of course, just so you know, or not so you know, but something I just learned recently is that one of the tracks I had, I thought it was the full song, Church on Tuesday, which is my favorite song on the album, and it was missing a little bit of the song the way it started out. But when you acquire things at the time, you don't think about that, which I should have. It is what it is. And I got through the whole album, and it was good. Especially when I heard Down. When I heard Down, I was just like, okay, this is totally not what I was expecting. And that definitely got me into the album. Very much so. And then from top to end, from beginning to end, I went through it a couple times and I loved it. yet I didn't know the material that came before it just yet. And then that's when I went back and then I start correlating two and two together about who this is and who's singing these songs and what songs they've done. And then that's when I went and got Core and I got Purple. But I didn't get Tiny Music just yet. I don't know why I just held off at the time, and now I'm glad I did, because I probably would have been pissed just because it was so different from the other work. My rating for the album is a 9 out of 10. It's not a perfect album, but it's almost there. It's just really... I don't think this album should have... I think Tiny Music came like it should have, and this album was a great follow-up to it, because there's elements of Tiny Music on this album. But then they didn't forget Core and Purple, so they brought them along for the ride when they did these tracks. My top 5 tracks is Church on Tuesday, Down, Sour Girl, No Way Out, and Glide. I think it's... Let me see. It's Glide. Sometimes you forget the titles of songs. Unfortunately, I don't think this got a lot of promotion either. I think Scott got in trouble again with the drugs and such, and having his issues. I'm not sure if I recall. But nonetheless, it was a good album. Would I say? Tracks I didn't like. There were none. And this album didn't take as long for me to take a long time to grow on me like Tiny Music did. Would I say listen to this album before the first two? You could. Because there's so many elements of the first two albums incorporated into number 4. However, if you listen to this album, you need to go listen to the first two. You can skip Tiny Music because it's so different from it. If anything, if I would say the albums that stand out so much from so far their catalog, I would say Purple and Core right here, then number 4, and then Tiny Music's over here. Because it's so psychedelic, where this album was just like, no, we ain't doing that this time. We're going to bring back more of the heavy, abrasive stuff. Kind of remind me of like a Led Zeppelin, like 1 and 2, then 3's acoustic, but then 4 brings back the rawness kind of thing. It kind of gave me that vibe. I would just say if you liked Core and Purple, I definitely think you would like this album. Whether you like it as much as Core and Purple, I can't say, but I enjoyed it. I thought it was great. So with that being said, let's cue the music.